Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to episode 43 of Monorail Memoirs. Today we'll be talking about Disney World for first timers, what you must know. This could be a long one. We could do this one for days, but we will do it as succinctly as possible. Lauren, as always, before we get into the details, how are you?
I'm great, thank you. It started to get a little bit lighter on the night, so when I'm out on my runs trying to get my training plan in for springtime surprise, it's light and I'm loving it.
It's a huge difference maker. I ran home from work yesterday, for example. It's a huge difference maker because you can actually get outside and it's not too bad. In terms of then some of the things we want to get across the first timers, the one thing we want to start with is the size of Disney World. People underestimate this. You've got 4 theme parks, you've got 2 water parks, you've got Disney Springs. There is so much. And actually, fun fact, doing my research for this, do you know Disney World is the size of San Francisco?
Yeah. How crazy is that?
How cool is that? So the point is that it's very big. So if you are going, especially as a first timer, something you need to know straight out the gate is you are not going to get everything done. There's no point in pretending that you'll get everything done. And it's important expectation management that you know that. This is at one point where I would like to do the big red flashing lights, which is please do not confuse asking the question, where is Harry Potter? Because that is in Universal Studios, and folks, you think I'm kidding? You hear it all the time in conversations. That people are like, so where's Harry Potter?" It's like, no, you're in the wrong place. So, Disney is Disney. Harry Potter belongs to Universal Studios from a theme park perspective. So, the size of this place is huge, and we can't emphasize that enough. We'll talk a little bit later on ways that you could mitigate that or ways to understand it. But Lauren, in terms of for someone's first trip, how long do you think somebody needs to go for to really take a crack at it?
I do think a 2-week stint.
See,
Absolutely.
that and so most of our viewers are American. The idea of being able to take 2 weeks leave seriously, to take 2 weeks leave to go to Disney sounds mental, but why did you say 2 weeks is going to be the number?
So obviously, as you say, you've got 4 parks and you've got 2 water parks. That's already 6, you know, and you need to possibly build a rest half a day in there if you're going to be not kind to yourself, a rest day in there if you're going to be kind to yourself. Not forgetting the resorts as well. The resorts are amazing to explore. They've got lots of different restaurants and eateries and experiences, especially if you are staying off property. You can still experience some things in the resorts because Disney Transport, you can park up at the Magic Kingdom, for example, the Ticket and Transportation Centre, and take a bus somewhere, to a resort or something. So I definitely think that you need a good 2 weeks stint, and you still will not get everything done.
You won't get everything done. You won't get everything done. I agree. The only thing I think of is anything more than 10 days. If you are smashing it as a once in a lifetime thing, you're going to be exhausted and you will need a holiday after your holiday, which is why if I was to be asked the question, I would say, especially for our American listeners, a week, because that gives you, hear me out, that gives you at least 1 day in every park, a water park, a rest day, and your travel day.
Okay.
I think that is probably the most balanced approach to doing it, especially if you're coming from the US. It's a balanced day to do it. And we actually do have a previous episode, probably 2 months ago now, on how many days is the right amount of days for you. So do go and check that out. But the point is you can see in this conversation we're having right here, there is no one answer. There is no one answer. What I want to cover now is just some popular terms that we'll use and that other Disney YouTubers will use. And so Lauren and I will sort of bouncing off each other. So rope drop. Lauren, what is rope drop and why does it matter?
Yeah, so rope drop is essentially getting to the park before park technically opens. So say, for example, on the day that you're going, Magic Kingdom opens at 9 a.m. The park does not open at 9 a.m. The rides open at 9 a.m. The park actually opens, what is it, like an hour before?
No, I think it's half an hour.
Half an hour, because you need to get through the ticket turnstiles, and they kind of let you through to a certain point, and the cast members kind of hold like a bit of a rope and they drop it, and you are rope dropping the park. So if you are expecting to turn up at 9 a.m. and be held at the gates, no, there's someone already on Tron. You know, it's something that you need to really plan in advance. So to do rope drop, you need to be leaving your house, your resort, whatever, at least an hour before the park opens, I would say, to get parked, to get in, and all that sort of stuff.
Depends where you're staying, Lauren. Depends where you're staying, which we will come on to next. But before then, I just want to talk to people about lightning lanes, because they may hear this term lightning lanes, and it is a little complex. So I will try and break it down to its most constituent parts. There's two forms of lightning lane. There's lightning lanes, and then there's what's called individual lightning lanes. They're two different things. So a lightning lane is, think of it as a skipping the queue function. You're allowed to skip the queue on these particular rides. Great. Happy days. It's time limited as to when you can get them. They are sequential. You can't hold them at the same time, all this sort of stuff. Individual lightning lanes are the more prestigious, longer wait time rides. And the idea behind this is you can purchase one-off tickets, one-off lightning lanes to skip the queue for that particular ride. A good example is Guardians of the Galaxy, for example. If you don't want to wait 3 hours, you can pay your $15 or whatever it is, and you can all skip this one particular ride once. So once per purchase. So these are two different paid for features. Lightning lanes on this side, depends, it varies day to day how much it is, but you got lightning lanes on this side, which will be $25 or so a day, and that will get you access to a lot of the rides, and they'll be able to skip the lines in a lot of the rides, but not all. This one, the individual lightning lane, is a single one-off purchase for a particularly busy ride. We've done a video on what we would do, actually last week's video, on what we would do if we were Disney CEO. And this is one of the things I think we both agreed we would just scrap, because I've tried to explain that in plain English. And Lauren, did that even make sense?
Even someone who knows what you're talking about, it's tricky. Absolutely. Yeah. And also that is per person. So if you're going for a family of 4 and it is $15 to skip a line, you're actually paying $60 to skip that line in that ride.
And it's becoming more and more, I've said this before, it is becoming a pay to win sort of experience. Yeah. Disney World has always rewarded people who are good at planning. It's always rewarded people who are good at planning, whether that be the old FastPass system or whatever. But now more than ever, Disney is rewarding those who have got the financial ability and desire to make their experience elevated, whether that be skipping the lines or what have you. So there's just a couple of terms between rope drops, lightning lanes, it's worth pointing out. I'm not going to go and say what you should do in each park, because everybody's experiences are different, everybody's preferences are different, everyone's travel party is different. What we are going to talk about now is why where you stay matters. Lauren, you stay off-site, you stay in villas. Talk about the benefits and the drawbacks of staying off Disney property.
Yeah, so the obvious drawback is you aren't there. So it will take quite a while to get in and out of Disney property, because, as you say, it's massive. It's the size of San Francisco, a whole city. Like, that is crazy. So it does take a while from your villa, because your villas aren't in Disney. They are often on the outskirts. And something you need to be really careful of is when your villa says 10-minute drive away from Disney World. You aren't 10 minutes drive away from parking your car at Disney. Oh, no. You are 10 minutes drive from the sign that says Walt Disney World. From the sign to the park, especially if it's Magic Kingdom, it's going to take you ages to get there. It's another 10-15 minutes. So you're going to need to plan in a half an hour at least to get from your villa to the park. That is the main drawback. I get it. Fine. For me, the main plus is the space for the price. You get so much space, you get bedrooms, you're not confined to one hotel room, especially if you're going with slightly older children, maybe kind of 8, 9, who might want their own space.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough. You will be sleeping in the bed next to your 9-year-old when actually that 9-year-old wants their own room and you want to go and sit and watch telly in the living room. So to me, that's the main draw for it, and your private pool if you choose to get one.
Agreed. I would like to just poke you slightly on the concept of parking, however.
Oh, yeah. So obviously, it's $30 a day.
It's what?
Oh, is it 35 now?
It is $35 a day to park at Walt Disney World if you are not staying on a Disney resort. $35 a day.
So if you go in 10 days out of a 14-day holiday, which is entirely possible, $350 gone. And that could be one night in a resort.
So what I will say, and bearing in mind, for those who know us and our background, we always stayed, growing up as children, we stayed off Disney property in a villa. It's only the last couple of years, ladies and gentlemen, that I've leaned, as a member of DVC, I've leaned Disney Vacation Club. We have an episode on that. I've leaned into staying on Disney property, and bottom line up front, it's so much more expensive. It makes for so much more expensive experience. It also makes for a lot of an easier experience because you don't have to pay to park at the parks. You don't even need a car if you choose to use Disney transportation, although it's a little bit less flexible. Going back for a midday nap. Oh, I remember last year I was stood looking at the Tree of Life going, we should go for a nap. Not 25 minutes later was I in bed. In bed. So middle of park to in bed. 25 minutes later. So that's a huge win. And it also means that going back into the parks later afterwards is easier. Some of the days as well, there is something that is sort of extra magic hours, as they used to be called. The idea being that if you're staying in a deluxe resort, which is listed as any of the DVC ones, but if you're staying in a deluxe resort, you get to stay in the park for extra hours. So for example, I don't know if you know this yet, but when we go in April, there is one day, the day that we've planned to do Magic Kingdom, we can stay in there till 11 p.m. because we are staying at Animal Kingdom Lodge, thus a deluxe resort. So that extra couple of hours, when the park's open after the fireworks, when everybody else is going out, we're going to be able to just go around and blitz everything. It is things like that that make staying on site a huge perk. But if I talk about the negatives, Lauren has mentioned you are either in one hotel room, or if you wish to do the adjoining rooms, or if you wish to do some of the bigger DVC rooms, it's going to cost you a lot more. And by staying in the Disney bubble, whilst you get the extra experience of staying in it, it does mean that all of your costs are going to be higher.
Yeah.
Which
even
brings me on.
Like your breakfast, for example, you can't just have a cheap breakfast room, Like if you were to stay in a hotel, even off-site, the hotel breakfast was probably included in your room.
Yep.
Disney.
Which is a nice segue on what happens with dining. So worth pointing out that there's so many dining options at Disney. Everything from quick service restaurants. Quick service. The best way to think of a quick service is something that's a little bit more formal than a McDonald's, and that's about it. You got quick service, you've got your normal table restaurants that you would expect, and there are buffets. Sometimes, depending on where you book, you can get character buffet experiences. It's usually more breakfast related, but character experiences. So there's all of these things. We could not do a single episode going through every single dining facility Disney has got. We would be here for days. But what I will say is if you're concerned about the costs and you're being conscious, there are absolutely ways to go about being sensible, whether that be getting a Walmart order to your hotel room, or going to Walmart or other stores are available, and then making food to take in with you. Have those snacks with you. Just try and cut the corners where you can, if cost is going to be a factor, because I think the food element of Disney is good. It adds to the experience, but it is not the thing that you will talk about after you leave the park.
To me, it doesn't break the experience if you do not eat in Disney 100% of the time. For me.
Agreed.
Yes, there are some experiences that are amazing, and I'm very excited to do some in April. And when we've previously been, we've always done 1 or 2. But I could not do breakfast, lunch, dinner every day in Disney. It would break your bank.
It would. It certainly would. It certainly would. I've been joined by, you can't quite see, but one of my cats has joined us. You can see a little ear now and again. He's interested in the conversation around what we do for paying for different Disney reservations. That's money that he won't get in the inheritance. So I want to just to start to bring this to a conclusion. I want to talk about mistakes that people make, and I think I want 2 straight out of the gate. One is Florida weather. Florida weather is unpredictable. In summer, you're going to get rainstorm in the middle of the day. Insane. In winter and in January, it can actually be cold. So having that understanding that Florida weather, whether that be the heat, whether that be the humidity, it's an ever-changing feast, and I highly recommend that you are at least on top of what the weather is going to be for the next day. That is a mistake I see often. And then secondly, you will not do everything. Do not try to do everything, because you will absolutely be exhausted by the end. If you're doing 12 hours in the park every day, it will no longer be magical. It will ruin it for you.
Yeah, you'll absolutely hate it. And something that I've learned is when you're looking at Instagram or TikTok or, YouTube, all these influencers who are like, oh yeah, let's just go and get a cheeseburger spring roll, or, something like that. And it's all like whimsical and lovely and exciting. You're going to be like, right, come on, we need to eat, right, quickly get a spring roll, we need to go to this next ride. And it's not aesthetic as they make it out to be. Don't forget these influencers that go weekly, twice weekly, whatever, it is their job. They don't have an itinerary generally. They don't have to do experiences because it's a once in a lifetime holiday. So you will not feel the way these influencers feel. And you will not be able to do every experience that you see every influencer experience either. So you need to really make a list of your must-dos. So the way that we did this with our friends when we went with them, we asked them to write down somewhere where they absolutely have to eat, somewhere that they've seen that they really want to eat, they really want to go, a couple of rides that are must-dos in each park, so that we could feed that into our schedule of what we were doing, and also anything kind of like shopping related. Is there anywhere that you really want to go? Is there anything that you really want to buy? And if you just slim that list down, especially if you're going with a few of you, to 1 or 2 each, that makes it enjoyable, doable, but you're also not absolutely flagging by the end of it.
I think that's a very good set of tips there, Lauren. Well done. Well done. For those who have been to Disney, what do you think we should be telling people who are first-time visitors? What is it that they need to know? Please let us know in the comments. There's various links down on how to contact us, how to buy merch, if you so wish to do so. We will be back next week, as we are every week. But until then, please stand clear of the doors. Bye, everybody.
Bye.